Welcome to This Explainer. Okay, I want you to just close your eyes for a second and imagine being out on the vast open ocean. It's quiet, maybe a little too quiet. For decades, one specific stretch of the Atlantic has held this terrifying grip on our collective imagination. You know the one. It's a place where colossal ships and advanced aircraft just seemingly vanish into thin air. Well, today, we are going to completely expose the truth behind the world's most famous maritime legend. And honestly, we're going to uncover a fascinating, little-known mystery about how that exact truth was deliberately hidden from you for over 50 years.
So to really understand this myth, we have to go back to the event that kicked the whole thing off. The year is 1945, December 5th. 5 U.S. Navy Avenger torpedo bombers, famously known as Flight 19, take off from Fort Lauderdale for what is supposed to be just a routine 2-hour training mission. The weather, absolutely perfect. Their commander, Lieutenant Charles Taylor, was super experienced, logging over 2,500 flying hours. But soon after takeoff, the radio tower starts getting these chilling transmissions. Taylor reports that their compasses are totally malfunctioning, they can't find land anywhere, and in his final communications, he literally says, "We are entering white water. We are completely lost." And what makes this story even more horrifying is that they immediately sent a 13-man rescue plane after them, and it vanished too. 27 men, just gone without a single piece of wreckage ever found.
All right, let's dive into this because the huge pop culture frenzy around it didn't actually happen right away. It really exploded in 1952 when George Sand published this article in Fate magazine called Sea Mystery at Our Back Door. He essentially grouped together several of these disappearances, obviously putting Flight 19 front and center, and painted this terrifying picture of a sinister supernatural zone. And man, this sparked decades of wild conspiracy theories and, frankly, highly profitable books. People totally stopped looking for normal answers. Suddenly, everyone was suggesting ships were being sucked into wormholes, abducted by alien tech, or dragged down by the lost city of Atlantis. Yes, literally Atlantis.
Now, take a look at how this myth evolved over time. You see 1945 and 1952, right? That's where the legend is born. But prepare yourselves for a massive curtain pull here, because in 1975, the mystery of the Bermuda Triangle was actually definitively solved. Yep, the whole shebang, but I'm guessing you probably haven't heard about it. And why is that? Well, because A Mundane Truth simply doesn't sell millions of paperback books. The authors of all those sensational stories were deliberately bearing the facts just to keep this highly profitable mystery alive.
So let's get into Section 1, the forgotten 1975 solution.
So, who was the unsung hero who methodically dismantled the world's most famous maritime myth piece by piece? Enter Larry Cush. He was a flight instructor and a researcher. While literally everyone else was out there theorizing about aliens, Cush decided to, actually look at the data. He meticulously cross-referenced unclassified U.S. Navy records, historical weather reports, original newspaper clippings, and eyewitness testimonies. And what he found was absolutely staggering. He proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that mystery authors were actively omitting crucial facts, misrepresenting weather conditions, and sometimes straight up fabricating details to make their books more sensational.
Which brings us to Section 2, fact-checking the ghost ships. Let's actually use Cush's exact methods right now, starting with one of the most famous ghost ships, the La Dahama from 1935. The mystery books claim a ship called the SS Aztec found this small yacht just drifting aimlessly. Inside there was food, water, clothing, toys, but not a single human being. It sounds like a classic, terrifying ghost ship, right? Well, hold on. The truth is, that yacht was caught in a massive storm days earlier. Another ship, the Italian SS Rex, had completely rescued all the passengers and crew. Everyone was fine. The yacht just didn't sink like they expected it to. So when the SS Aztec stumbled upon it later, they just assumed it was mysteriously abandoned because they didn't have modern communication to tell them otherwise.
And this next one brilliantly illustrates the deception. Take the SS Cotopaxi. This was a cargo ship carrying coal that supposedly vanished without a trace in 1925 with 32 crew members. I mean, the famous 1977 movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind even showed this exact ship being dropped in the Gobi Desert by aliens. But Cushy found out that the Cotopaxi actually sent out desperate distress signals reporting it was taking on water during a really severe tropical storm. It absolutely did not vanish without warning. And get this, in 2020, literally nearly a century later, researchers actually found and identified its wreckage right off the coast of St. Augustine, Florida. Then, oh man, there is the incredibly absurd case of the U.S. tanker VA Fog in 1972. Mystery writers boldly claimed that some invisible force vaporized the crew, leaving only the captain casually sitting at his desk with a mug of coffee. The actual reality? The ship exploded and sank off the coast of Texas. Actually, scratch that, it wasn't even in the Bermuda Triangle. It was off Texas, and the Coast Guard literally photographed the tragic wreckage and recovered bodies. The authors simply lied to make a good story. Now for Section 3, the true forces of nature. Okay, so if it's not aliens or Atlantean death rays, what is actually taking down these massive vessels? First up, the Gulf Stream. Think of it as a massive, incredibly fast-moving underwater river. If a plane crashes or a ship sinks, the Gulf Stream is going to scatter that wreckage dozens of miles away in just a matter of hours. That perfectly explains why search parties find absolutely nothing at the last known location. Then you have rogue waves. These terrifying things can reach 100 to 150 feet high. Just to put that in perspective, that's the size of a 10-story building. A wave that big can instantly snap an overloaded ship right in half, which is most likely exactly what happened to the USS Cyclops back in 1918. Add in some sudden hurricanes, tornadic waterspouts, and literally underwater quicksand that swallows heavy wreckage, and you have a naturally fiercely treacherous environment. Now, you might have heard a more modern, kind of scientific-sounding theory lately.
It says that massive bubbles of methane gas erupt from the ocean floor, lower the water's density, and sink ships instantly. And look, while it sounds super fascinating, the crucial point here is that scientists have thoroughly investigated this. There are volcanic structures down there, sure, but there is absolutely zero evidence of any volcanic or methane eruptions in this specific area for over 15,000 years. So, yeah, it's just another myth. Moving to Section 4, human error and navigation. We have to remember that before the era of modern GPS, Doppler radar, and satellite weather tracking, navigating this super busy trade route full of shallow reefs and sudden storms relied heavily on pure human judgment. And one of the biggest hurdles they faced was magnetic variation. Let's totally debunk that spinning compass myth right now. The legend loves to claim compasses go crazy in the triangle because of supernatural forces. But in reality, magnetic variation is just the natural geographical difference between true north and magnetic north. This happens all over the globe, guys, not just in Bermuda. Experienced sailors, navigators have literally known about this for centuries, and they simply adjust their charts to compensate for it. It's a standard navigational hurdle, not a paranormal event. Now, let's see how this psychological phenomenon builds into the real tragedy of Flight 19. A major factor in aviation accidents is something called spatial disorientation. When you're flying over open water at night or in heavy clouds, you lose the horizon. And when that happens, your inner ear and your body can start giving you false physiological signals. It makes you feel like you're flying perfectly straight, when in reality, you are banking directly toward the water. If a pilot trusts their body over their instruments, they can crash in minutes. This terrifying psychological phenomenon, combined with a lack of modern GPS and suddenly worsening weather, is exactly how a highly experienced flight commander like Charles Taylor got helplessly turned around and lost. Finally, let's hit Section 5, the real reason myths survive. So, if science, weather data, and incredible researchers like Larry Kush comprehensively solved this 50 years ago, why do we still firmly believe the Bermuda Triangle is some supernatural death trap? Well, the answer lies in a psychological trap that, honestly, we all fall for: selection bias. The Bermuda Triangle is literally one of the busiest shipping and flight lanes on the planet. Thousands of planes and ships pass through it safely every single day. Believing the myth is basically like flipping a coin 1,000 times, only talking about the 10 times it lands on heads and completely ignoring the 990 times it lands on tails. Mystery writers cherry-picked a few tragic accidents, completely ignored the thousands of safe passages, and falsely presented the area as abnormally dangerous. In fact, the US agency NOAA explicitly states there is no evidence that disappearances occur here at higher rates than any other well-traveled ocean on Earth. And if you want the absolute, undeniable, mic drop proof that the triangle isn't actually dangerous, just look at this number: 0. That is the exact amount of extra money the world's top marine insurance company, Lloyd's of London, charges ships to cross the Bermuda Triangle. Insurance companies base their premiums purely on cold, hard mathematical risk. If ships were genuinely vanishing into wormholes at an alarming rate, you'd better believe they would charge astronomical fees. But they don't charge a single cent extra because the statistical risk is exactly the same as anywhere else in the ocean. So, I'm going to leave you with this final thought. If a ghost story author tells you at the very end of the book that the creaking door was just the wind, well, the book loses its magic, doesn't it? And it probably won't sell. The authors who built the Bermuda Triangle myth knew this perfectly well. They knowingly traded the truth for a bestseller. The real mystery of the Bermuda Triangle was never really about the ocean at all. It was about human psychology.
It's about our deep, enduring desire for a captivating story and just how easily we will ignore the facts to hold on to a little bit of magic. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep asking questions and never stop looking for the truth.